Hey guys, welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Andrew Seegers, and this time we're again joined by Derek Binder and special guest Ash Paulson from Game On to discuss the latest news for Smash Bros. Wii U and 3DS from this past week. So let's get started. Alright guys, we had some pretty interesting details this week. Now, Monday isn't really a great example of this though, because we just see Wireframe Mac again, which is an alternate costume for Little Mac. But we do learn an interesting detail about him in general, and that's the fact that, he comes from the arcade version of Punch-Out! And apparently Shigeru Miyamoto was the one who designed that model, specifically by drawing it on graph paper, which is something I didn't even know about, and I thought that was kind of cool. So I think that's something we've talked about, before in a couple different discussions probably, but let's get your guys' quick take on this one.
This is the big reason I love trophies, collecting trophies. It's not so much for the trophies themselves, it's for the little trivia you get from them, and I love little trivia like this. So I just like you, I had no idea Miyamoto did any kind of work on Punch-Out! Whatsoever.
Oh, no, I agree. It was a cool bit of trivia, and I kind of agree with you, Derek. It's the same kind of touches on why I love the trophy so much, because even if I know all these characters and items and stages and stuff, it's really fun to kind of see, their take on it in terms of little trivia they want to share with us, or, just fun little facts, and that's kind of what we got here with Wireframe Mac, and it's not really that interesting a picture beyond that, but at least maybe Sakurai knew that, which is why he gave us a little trivia to go along with it.
Yeah, well, the more interesting thing about this is that he bookended the week, with alternate costumes. But we'll get to that soon enough. So let's go on to Tuesday, and this one is probably one of the highlights of the week, because we actually learned more about Charizard. And that's the fact that, we already knew, because he no longer transforms between different Pokemon, we knew he was going to get a new move, and we now know what that move is. And that's a Flare Blitz. And it looks to me like it's going to function probably similar to Captain Falcon's Falcon Kick, where it looks like it's a horizontal attack where he just turns into a fireball. But this time, that apparently like the game itself, if you connect with an opponent, it'll deal recoil damage to yourself, which is kind of unique.
We knew there was going to have to be a new attack. What I found interesting is the fact that he remapped two of the specials here. I thought the new move was just going to be a down B, but instead he moved his Rock Smash to the down special, and now Flare Blitz is the side special. So that was pretty interesting in itself. The move itself looks quite cool. It has to be pretty powerful just because of the fact that you're getting recoil damage. I don't think we've seen any type of character take that kind of recoil damage since Pichu in Melee.
Oh, and even his, I don't think, was dependent upon hitting people. I think it just happened by attacking.
Right.
Yeah, just by using electric attacks. So it's still kind of different in that regard. But the sense I'm getting, especially now that I'm showing Flare Blitz and how powerful it'll be, I'm getting the sense that Charizard is definitely going to be a bit slower than maybe a bit slower than before, but definitely more powerful. Rock Smash was always a powerful hit, and I think Flare Blitz is going to match that as well.
It does seem like they might be powering him up a bit, though, and I think thematically or conceptually it does make sense for Sakurai to remap the moves like that, because if Flare Blitz is a horizontally traveling move like it seems to be from this screenshot, then having it as a side special just makes sense.
Right.
Whereas, Rock Smash was always kind of a stationary move, and, that kind of conceptually, again, makes more sense as a beat-down special.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it makes sense. It's kind of like Luigi's, side missile, or Pikachu's, horizontal attack as well. Yeah, it makes a ton of sense. Now, beyond that move, we also learned for a fact that Mega Charizard X is in fact his final smash, which is something we've already talked about a lot pretty recently.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what do you guys think about now knowing for sure that that's what this is?
Well, it's nice to have confirmation, and I think we kind of suspected already, obviously, from our last discussion about that, and it's nice to have confirmation, and I think we can pretty much assume from this that it also means Lucario's final smash is Mega Lucario. And that would also possibly, if Mewtwo comes back, that maybe Mega Mewtwo would be the same thing. It seems like a thematic thing for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty much all it is confirmation. The thing I'm still wondering about is if our theories about Mega Charizard Y will come true, because we said that maybe he'll have the option to choose between the two either before the game, and I've even seen comments saying that maybe when you get the Smash Ball, to activate it, rather than like the special button, you hit either X or Y. X turns you into Charizard X, Y changes you into Charizard Y, which makes almost too much sense.
That's true.
Except the problem with that though is if you're using a Wii mode, you won't have those options.
Exactly. So that probably won't be the case, but
Yeah.
I do wonder if they decided that Charizard X is going to be his only Mega Evolution, or if they'll try to work in Charizard Y in some form.
I'm going to venture a guess and say that at least for Final Smash, Mega Charizard X is it. I don't think that now that we've seen this, and the way Sakurai words it, he says, and here's Mega Charizard X. This will appear as Charizard's Final Smash. I mean, it is somewhat open-ended, but I just have a feeling that, I mean, in all the marketing materials for Pokemon, Origins, Pokemon X and Y, it's very obvious that the Pokemon Company, they really have a thing for Mega Charizard X. Y isn't featured nearly as heavily anywhere.
Why is that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't think Charizard Y looks nearly as cool, so I'm fine with this, but I have a feeling that Charizard X is it in terms of the Final Smash at this point.
Yeah, it would make sense.
So moving on, Wednesday's picture shows off a new trophy, being Brittany from Pikmin 3. Now in and of itself, it's really not that interesting. I mean, it's cool that Pikmin 3 is, getting even more representation here. It's good to see, Brittany getting some love. But apparently it won't be that much love, because Sakurai does confirm that she won't be joining the battle. And I think, Derek, you had some specific thoughts about that?
Yeah, basically, when she says she won't be joining the battle, I mean, there's always the assumption with all these different character outfits, specifically for the Wii Fit Trainer, how it could change between male and female, and what we learned later on Friday, that maybe Olimar are going to have different outfits in the form of different characters from the Pikmin series, whether it's Louie, Brittany, Alf, or Charlie. So it's interesting to see that they did. At least in this case, Brittany isn't going to make an appearance, but maybe some of the others still can. But that's all I really got from it. That's the big thing to me, is that she won't be an alternate costume for anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I know there were a few people out there really hoping that Brittany would at least be an alt for Olimar, and I guess, this pretty much confirms that she won't be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if we will see any other Pikmin characters either. I mean, if she's not an alt, I don't think we'll be seeing any alts for Olimar at all, and I can't see any other Pikmin characters being standalone characters either, because they all perform the exact same functions in the games. Okay, well, moving on to Thursday with what might be the least interesting picture of the week, if only because there's really nothing new here. But, as with Monday's screenshot, we do learn an interesting detail, and that's just how much attention they are paying, to these assist trophies. In this case, it's talking about the Color TV Game 15. So apparently, games of this nature, Sakurai avoids naming names, but games like Pong, they had like a dial you would turn, so you could, you had analog control over how fast that paddle moved. But apparently that wasn't the case with the TV Game 15, where it was just a simple switch, so the paddles always moved at a constant speed. And that's something that they actually emulated perfectly here. We can see that in the Nintendo Direct footage, where it moves, at the exact same rate. And Sakurai just draws attention to this fact, basically making a little mini cool bits of his own here, pointing out the attention to detail.
Yeah.
I guess the whole consistent speed thing does kind of matter in a little ways, because it's not going to be like, you're going to try to avoid them, so you try to go above them while it's low. It's not going to be like it's going to whip all of a sudden to the top and knock you around that way. The only other thing I noticed was that the score in this case is different than the original time we saw the TV Game 15, where I believe it was like 1 or 2-2 or something to that effect, and this one's a blowout for the player on the right. So I don't know whether it's a different game every time, or the ball hitting the players changes up how the game will be played. So in that way, it's a different game every time.
That's a really good point. I hadn't considered that. It would be really pretty interesting if the ball hitting the characters actually dynamically changed how this game of Pong, I'll just say it, Pong, goes each time. I think that'd be really interesting.
I've got a better idea for this. What if everyone else is using a standard controller? What if the person using the gamepad can use the control sticks to move the paddles up and down and actually play the game? And actually,
that would be awesome.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
That would be really cool, though, if there was even like a fifth player type thing, where even if it was kind of undocumented, like some of the stuff you can do with the second controller in Mega Man 3,
right.
Say, it'd be really cool if you could just get a fifth player in there just to control the paddles. That would be
That would
awesome.
actually be like an amazing feature of assist trophies in general. Like if it offered some control, if a fifth player could take control of those assist trophies and actually use them to mess with the match.
Very cool.
All right, moving on to Friday's picture. This is kind of big news, but not really at the same time, because it's something we actually predicted way back in our E3 analysis. and that's the fact that the villager would have an alternate costume, specifically a female version, just like the Wii Fit trainer, and that's exactly what happens here. And in this case, we can see at least 4 of his costumes, or I should say 4 of her costumes too. What do you guys think about this one?
This is just another one of those things where it's nice to have confirmation. I mean, as we said, we knew this would happen. I mean, it was pretty obvious from the beginning, but again, it's just nice to have confirmation, just something, one less thing to wonder about, you know?
I think the more interesting takeaway for me personally, though, is the fact about how different each of them are. Not only is the other male villager, wearing completely different clothes in the first, he also has a different hairstyle, different eye style. It's not like past Smash Brothers games where it's just the sort of the color slightly changes for these characters. It's the entire outfit is completely different. Really paying homage to Animal Crossing, and I find that kind of fascinating. So I'm wondering if, are the other characters going to get this much detail, or is this just a special case because it is the villager and there are this many combinations?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, like how interesting it was, how different they all are, and kind of wondering too how many different variations there could be. I mean, it seemed like the kind of thing that could really benefit from a lot of customization and a lot of, even if there was a random element to it, it just seemed like the kind of thing that could be really fun and relatively easy to implement. Looking at the picture now, I've been studying it, and so I know something interesting, and this might mean nothing, but if you look at the 2 female villagers, they actually have the same exact model for their hair, which I find a little interesting considering that the 2 male villagers don't. And that leads me to believe that there possibly could be some sort of customization element going on here. Maybe not.
I don't know. Maybe I'd like to see some customization to really give the villager some personalization for the player. But if it is just sort of like a new kind of palette swap, I'll be fine with that too.
Alright, well, I think that wraps up for this week. So thanks guys for watching. If you like this discussion, make sure to like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain, which you can find links to in the description below. It's a good way to keep up to date with everything we post. And of course, keep an eye on GameXplain.com for more on Smash Bros. Wii U and 3DS and other things gaming too. Alright, thanks guys. Bye.